According to Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, the word spontaneous means arising from a momentary impulse. Anyone that knows me personally knows that I am not a spontaneous person. I do not make sudden or rash decisions. I have to think things through and plan things out. So of course, the one day that I made a spontaneous decision, it changed my life. It all started one Friday night early in December of 2009. My younger brother had an indoor soccer game at Kiva Sports Center in Middleton. My dad was the coach, and he stood over in the bench area. I didn't normally stand in the bench when he coached, but when we got there, I got a glimpse of the ref and thought he was cute. My mom and sister hadn't arrived yet, so of course I had to text my sister and let her know what I thought of the ref. The game started off as normal, with lots of running around, kicking the ball, and whistle blowing. I noticed the ref look at me a few times, and he even came over and asked me a few questions and made some small talk with my dad. At halftime, I went to talk to my sister, and she thought I was silly, but I still thought he was cute. In the second half, I started contemplating if I should give him my number, even going so far as to tweeting, should I be spontaneous and outgoing, give him my number or not? To this, I got a few replies urging me on. I texted my sister from across the field, asking her to bring me a piece of paper and a pen, and told her my plans. She kind of laughed at me, but I was still determined. Determined with a racing heart, that is. After the whistle that ended the game, he walked over to make sure all the kids shook hands. And that was when I slipped the piece of paper with my number and the directions to text me with a winky face on it into his packet of gum. He came back over right as I was putting his gum packet down, and he asked what I was doing. I responded with a still racing heart that I was just taking a piece of gum. As I walked away, he called out to me, "Took you long enough," which made me smile real big as I kept on walking. Before I even got out the door of Kiva, I got a text from him. He introduced himself as Aaron and asked me what made me give him my number. To which I replied that I thought he was cute. After that, we texted quite a bit and started hanging out. The first thing we ever did together was go sledding at Elver Park. Right before we left the park, he pushed me down the hill. I hit a huge bump and I scraped my chin open. I won't ever forget it, even though he denies pushing me down the hill. We hung out plenty after that, but the next time I clearly remember is New Year's Eve. My family has a tradition of going out to eat at Chili's and then going bowling. That year, I invited Aaron along as well. In the middle of dinner, I got a text message. It was from Aaron, and it said, "Will you go out with me?" When I looked up at him, he was just smiling at me. Of course, I said yes. Since then, we have pretty much been inseparable, doing so many fun things and making so many memories. Like the time when we walked out of Cub Foods, and he was swinging his car keys around his finger, and he decided to fling them up in the air. Unfortunately, they didn't come back down. He had thrown them on the roof. We did get them back after only a little bit of hassling the manager on duty. She blamed us for throwing them up there on purpose. Or there was a time we were driving home from church, and he stuck his head out the window just as I was turning a corner. All of a sudden he says, "Oh, well, there went my sunglasses." I just about died laughing. It was hilarious. Thankfully, they were his cheap pair. The last memory I will mention is from when we went down to Chicago. We spent the day down there and went to the mall and the IKEA store and had a great time. The only problem we had was trying to get back home. We only took directions to get us down there, not back, so we couldn't figure out how to get on the interstate to get back home. Instead, we just took side and back roads, hoping that we were going in the right direction. Of course we made it, eventually. Aaron is one of my best friends and the love of my life. I can't even imagine where I would be if I hadn't decided to be spontaneous and leave him my number. Of course, he tells me that he would have asked for my number the following week at soccer, but who knows what really would have happened. I don't know, and I really don't care. I'm just glad that on that night I decided to do something spontaneous.